Hey y'all, Melissa here at Twin Oaks Family Farm. Going to show you a couple things. We got the meat birds that we're raising. They are 17 days old. So going to show you Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens at day 17 and going to show you what we produce from the chickens. Thanks so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Here's the video. Hey y'all, here's some glimpses of what we make. And right here is how we make it. Real good chicken that you serve at your table comes from real chickens, raised in barns or on pastures on farms. So lately, word on the street is some people be peddling some kind of lab produced chicken. First of all, this isn't that. And secondly, that isn't good enough. This is the way you want to get chicken. So we do raise Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens here, specializing in poultry production from them. This is a flock of 426 Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens that are 17 days old. The amazing thing about Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens is that in 6 short weeks, they can go from the size of a chicken egg to approximately 6 to 8 pounds live weight. And then when you butcher and process a Cornish Rock Cross meat chicken, they're going to dress out at about 75% of their live weight. So dress out means what weight are they going to be when they are butchered and processed into, for example, a whole chicken. So if we take a Cornish Rock Cross meat chicken from a flock that we raise here to 42 days old, we can pretty much expect to end up with a whole chicken that's in the range from 4.5 to 6 pounds frozen whole chicken in the freezer. Sometimes, if the ambient conditions are near perfect, we can even end up with chickens that are in the 6 to 7 pound range as whole chickens in the freezer from a 42-day production schedule, start to finish. That's what Cornish Rock Cross chickens were developed for, to be capable of rapid growth, capable of efficient feed to meat conversion, and capable of producing poultry in a short time. So if you're raising them, the tricks of the trade and the secrets to success, and we share it willingly, is to maximize growth potential and minimize flock loss. Those two goals are the primary reasons that we select 42 days or 6 weeks for the length of our production schedule, because you can pretty much guarantee that by 6 weeks you've gotten all of the skeletal growth, all of the frame size, all that structure, and as much meat production as that frame can hold. You've pretty much accomplished that successfully in 6 weeks. You've maximized growth potential then. You're minimizing flock loss by going ahead and having them butchered and processed at 6 weeks. Because if you continue to keep them in production, what we've learned from experience is that their rate of growth will compound and accelerate leading up to 6 weeks. But basically, for most Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens that have a typical growth pattern for the type of bird, most of them will reach their maximum growth rate by 6 weeks. And then at 6 weeks, it'll plateau, it'll flatten. But you're still having to feed the same amount of feed that you were feeding, and they have a heavier appetite, but their growth rate has actually totally evened out. So more or less, the growth rate has slowed down relative to the amount of feed. The other thing that can happen after 6 weeks is the strain on the internal organs of the Cornish Rock Cross meat chicken, impacted by the rapid growth that they've had in their first 6 weeks. After that point, every day, flock loss in terms of death within the flock of individuals is more and more likely. So there you are. So that's why we pick 6 weeks. It maximizes growth potential and minimizes flock loss in most typical members of the flock. There are times that you have some slow growers in a flock, maybe runts. Maybe you can keep them past the flock's processing date. Maybe you can't. Probably depends on your situation and the circumstances and a lot of particulars. We try to avoid holding any back out of a flock when it's time for butchering and processing a flock. There are times that we do, though. If a bird just isn't finished, we don't send them to processing. So in those cases, we have to figure out what to do. When they are slow growers, if they're healthy and strong but still slow growers, they're eventually going to hit their growth spurts. You just don't know when, and they're not going to hit them when their counterparts in their flock hit them. So this is a really good looking flock. So if you have a slow grower that doesn't attain its maximum growth potential by 6 weeks, generally you can be pretty sure that between week 6 and week 9, you're probably going to see them hit 2 or 3 growth spurts and gain a lot of size and be finished. So even with a slow grower, you want to be formulating the plan and be prepared for butchering and processing them at a time separate from the flock if you're going to hold them back. So it's always something to be mindful of. And that there have been times that we've had slow growers that really aren't finished, but we go ahead and send them to processing because we can see looking ahead, we don't have a plan B for processing them. And even with the slow growers, you really don't want to just keep Cornish rock cross meat chickens in production indefinitely. It's not a good combination. So if you have any questions, let us know. But basically, these birds are just right on target. So they are 17 days old as we're recording this, and they are going to grow a lot between now and day 42. It's just amazing. And we've raised thousands of these birds, but it amazes us every flock to see how fast they grow. I want to show you something before we end the video. Okay, so I want to show you a couple examples of whole chickens and the difference between a Cornish rock cross meat chicken and a heritage type breed chicken after the fact in terms of outcome with your whole frozen chicken. So this is a whole chicken from flock 1 of 2025, and so it finished out 5.88 pounds. Now, full disclosure with that one, we had most of the birds in that flock at 6 weeks old and about 70 of the birds in that flock at 7 weeks old. So that could be a 6 week or 7 week old production length. This was a heritage breed bird that was about a year and a half old probably, and it was hens that we needed to rotate out of our egg production. Would have been a Buff Orpington in that group. I know they're packaged a little differently too, but you know, there's the wing and the drumstick and the thigh, and there's not much chicken breast to speak of. Okay, so let's come over. So the drumstick, super meaty, the thigh, super meaty, the wing, super meaty, and the chicken breast, of course. And the most popular product, I'd say, from our operation, the boneless, skinless chicken breast. So this is the chicken breast from a single chicken. This one's 1.57 pounds. It's boneless, skinless, and they cut it into 2 pieces at the processor. You're not going to get that production on a dual purpose breed or a heritage breed, and if you do get that production on a different hybrid type of meat bird, you're not going to get it in 6 weeks. It's going to take longer. Just to point out, it's cool to raise whatever you want to raise if you're raising chickens for meat and producing poultry, especially if you're raising for household consumption. You definitely want to go with what you prefer. That's the best plan. But a lot of the time, we have people contest to us that heritage breeds and dual purpose breeds are superior for meat production. We'll emphatically and forever disagree. There are aspects from which heritage and dual purpose type breeds are inherently better than Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens. But in terms of benchmark for meat production, there's not a chicken type superior to the Cornish Rock Cross meat chicken. That's really not a matter of opinion. That's well-established production outcomes. But in terms of what do you like to eat, that's totally a matter of opinion and should not be influenced by what anybody on social media or any platform or any industry says. Absolutely eat the kind of chicken you want to eat, source it from the kind of chickens you want to source it from. That's preference. That's cool. As far as which chicken out there makes the highest quality meat the most rapidly, there's no contest. It's Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens for sure. And regardless of which kind of chicken you prefer to source your meat from, we encourage you to please source it from a situation like this, a small family farm, where you can seek out the producer, where you can talk to them about their livestock and about their operation, and where you can possibly even see where the livestock is raised. You can ask questions. You might even be able to visit the site. You can get the real-time sense of what does it smell like? What does it look like? What is the care invested in producing the outcome? You can't always visit on site. Sometimes there are biosecurity protocols that are in place that maybe prevent that. But I can tell you firsthand, we've had clients here on farm, and I can see it in their experience and their response. And I know from my own family's response, when we sit down at the table to a plate of food that we raised, that's a magical feeling. And when we have clients that are on site and they get to see on farm how it smells like honeysuckle and grape irises around the chicken barn, and they get to see the clean bedding material down for the chickens, and they get to see the fresh water provided to the chickens at all time, and they get to see the balance kept with targeted warmth, sometimes targeted fans, sometimes that balance for ambient conditions. When they get to experience that care and time and passion for producing a great outcome, when they get to see that invested in where their food is coming from, it's magical. It's magical. I don't know any other word for it. So at any rate, so you see the birds, you see what we can produce from it, and I can tell you it can be done in 6 weeks. And I will forever contend that if we could make ambient conditions exactly perfect to their preference throughout production, I think these birds could finish in 5 weeks. I truly do. But we go with 6, and you can see this is how it's done. So don't, that's posturing. That's posturing. It doesn't last long. It's chicken fighting, and then they chicken out. And on that note, check in with our friend Debbie on YouTube channel Mother Clucker's Chicken Farm. She's doing an ongoing short form videos on different sayings that are chicken related, but that we use in everyday life. It's really, really fun to listen to. I learn a lot about the background of some of these different sayings. So check out Mother Clucker's Chicken Farm. And incidentally, if you are a backyard chicken keeper, I'm going to tell you, hands down, my opinion, that is the best and most informative chicken keeping channel on YouTube. Mother Clucker's Chicken Farm. Shout out to Debbie and family. They're based in Florida, USA. Check it out. Another favorite backyard chicken keeping channel of mine is Clucking Around. And that's a shout out to Cindy down in Texas, USA. They were having a heat wave this week, so she's been working on keeping those chickens cool enough, and she's sharing her tips and experiences with folks on YouTube from all of her backyard chicken keeping observations. So check that one out too. That is Clucking Around Cindy down in Texas, USA. So we're grateful to all y'all viewers and subscribers. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. We appreciate it. So day 17, Cornish Rock Cross Meat Chickens. We're Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. And before we leave, as always, we're encouraging y'all to heart local ag, wherever local is for you. Y'all, consumers need agriculture, and agriculture needs consumers. Seek out farmers, source food from them, and join in the fun by raising what you can. So thanks a lot, y'all. Leave any questions and comments. Let us know where you're watching from. We love to find out.